Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the County Commissioners Finance meeting to order. Do we have any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. That is the Interstate 81 interchange development between exits 46 and 47. We have with us Jonathan Bowser today from Katy, Mike Perry from AHEC. Gentlemen, if you want to start.
Sure, Commissioner. Thanks for giving us time on your schedule to discuss. I did provide each of you should have received a write-up of what we're looking to discuss today in the subject area that we have up here on Google Maps, which I don't have my glasses on, but we have exit 49 right here, and then also exit 48 right here. And that's what we wanted to come in and talk a little bit about today. I know Kirk and I were in a few weeks ago, and we discussed this briefly about numerous studies that were done along the I-81 corridor, looking at potential economic development growth, land use, and zoning as it relates to this growing corridor that we have right here in our backyard. So to fast forward a little bit, over the last, I would say, year or so, I know Mike and I have discussed, as well as Mike, really going out into the local community to garner support from some of our neighboring municipalities here about the interest of looking to address and construct a full interchange right here in this very growing area. Down here to the right, in the southern part, you have South Middleton, Middlesex up in this area, North Middleton, and of course the borough of Carlisle in there. Since the last study was done in this subject area back in 2005, Army Heritage Educational Center was not even built at that time. The Carlisle Crossings Shopping Plaza was not built at that time. And also down here in South Middleton, there's some light industrial development that's being queued up in the very near future for development in addition to additional housing. So I think with the growth of our county, from a population perspective, the growth of economic development that we've seen throughout the county, but in particular in this area, has put a lot of pressure in this part of 81 corridor as it relates to traffic and to safety concerns. And then also, one of the things that we want to take a look at is, with the continued expansion of AHEC, with the continued efforts by the local defense group and others to continue to support our military installation, we thought it would be a good time to come in and talk a little bit about how do we move a project like this forward. The last study took a look at various options and alternatives. There were no costs associated with any of those alternatives. So I think part of our request today is a few things. One is to look for a sponsor and look for the county to sponsor a full interchange at exit 48 and 49, which would be to consolidate. I think our ask is to maybe take a look at consolidating 48, meaning do away with it and look at a full interchange towards exit 49. And then also to look at some additional studies that we may need, so to update the current study that was done and include some cost estimates, and then be able to work with PennDOT and maybe even at the US DOT and other local sources of funding to be able to make this a reality. So with that said, I'll pass it over to Mike to add some additional narrative.
From the standpoint of a tourist venue, access into the AHEC presents a challenge. If you're coming southbound, you can get off on exit 49, right there, and that's fine. That's an easy access point. But if you're coming northbound, you have a choice of two locations. You can get either off on York Road interchange, which puts you either through Carlisle Crossings, the mall area, which is not a desired area, traffic route by the mall operator, or you can go all the way up to Middlesex and force them through the Miracle Mile. Either way, you're looking at about a mile plus in order to get into the facility. So I think that does discourage the drive-by visitor. So long term, as we continue to expand, we would hope that we can facilitate ease of access into the facility. Not discussed and not necessarily discussed by the barracks. However, there have been significant changes in access into Carlisle Barracks, which also would be facilitated by this interchange. The primary access for the barracks had traditionally been on Route 11. Back about after 2001, they moved that onto the Claremont Road exit. And then they also then put a housing area across from the barracks proper. So you're now seeing more local traffic trying to get into the barracks. And then the other thing that's happened is Army Heritage Drive has turned into a major transit route for commuters trying to get up onto 81. Rather than take the Miracle Mile, they're coming down Post Road, hitting Army Heritage Drive, and then picking up 81 north into Harrisburg using Army Heritage Drive. So we see a significant increase in traffic in the area.
Along with us, we also do have Tom Kelly from South Middleton Township, who has written a letter of support that the township has provided for wanting to improve access and also exit off of 81 with a full interchange. So Tom, I don't know if you have anything.
No, it's been said already, John. Very grateful. Commissioners, it would, the 49, if there was a full interchange, it would help us so much. Because right now, as you know, if you're down at 48, you get off and you want to go to the Army Heritage Center or Carlisle Barracks, you have four choices. You have a bypass around the shopping center, or you have the Fairview Street. Neither one were ever made for that. They're ugly, and this would help a great deal. There is a connector going in, Vince, between the York Road and Trindle Road. There's a new connector going. But it really, like I clocked it before I came into the commissioner, it's 9/10 of a mile from the interstate. Human behavior is such they won't go through two red lights and go 9/10 of a mile to go down the connector. The purpose of that mainly is they want to put 500 plus homes in there and then build out the commercial sector. As a result, it's just not going to help for what we're addressing today. And I think they came to us last August, and I think they made a strong case. And then we supported it and asked for your support, Gary, if you would.
I briefed Congressman Barletta and his staff on this project. They are amenable to try to provide as much support as they can. Same thing with one of my board members to talk to Congressman Schuster. But they need to get the project on a list before they can do anything to facilitate.
One question. So at 48, you'd be talking about closing that ramp altogether?
I'm not talking about closing that ramp altogether. You mean when it accesses York Road?
John mentioned we might consolidate. Colonel Family, I think you mentioned about that. Problem areas there at 48 as well. So are we talking about doing away with that? What I'm getting at is this. That's, it looks like that, well, I know there's a considerable amount of local traffic that comes in there. And looking down the road, I know we've discussed the possibility that you could see the Carlisle Airport runway maybe eventually being lengthened, which would result in closing Petersburg Road. So do we want to sacrifice other access ways on that eventuality?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not an engineer by any stretch, but I have talked to some engineers, and Kirk, I don't know if you have any opinion on this, but, one of the suggestions was to, look at doing away with exit 48, because if you have a full interchange at 49, that's a pretty close, that's 1 mile apart between 48 and 49. And if you recall at the High Street exit, I think when you get on, it's a short ramp, that's, it's a short leeway time onto the interchange. So from some of the folks that I've spoken to, unofficially, they thought that just from a safety perspective, you may want to consider the closure of one of the exits.
And I guess it is 48. It's the northbound side does have a very short access point. I mean, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Does that impinge on the people who live down Fort Road in terms of accessibility to the pool? Because there are a lot of houses there.
That would impinge me, so I'm against all of it.
That's why it's
Yeah, I think, just a little background, I think, what we're looking at, we did a study from the plan office back in 2005 that looked at all the interchanges in Cumberland County, following the exit 44 model that we had done. So the priority interchanges that came back were exit 29 and this split interchange 48, 49. There were a few costs in the study. It's old, and those costs were high. So they looked at different alternatives of closing one or the other, improving one or the other. There's also a concept for an access road that would run between the two interchanges. At the time, really nothing moved forward. The study was kind of left alone. I think with what Mike is experiencing now, with all the growth that's occurring in the area, it's seeing a rebirth here of potential interest. From our end, I think moving ahead, if we're trying to seek federal state funds, or at least try and access other funding, we want to get a local long-range plan through HATS. So to do that, we have to fill out what's called a problem statement form. So when we do that, we're really not saying we're going to do X, Y, or Z. We're establishing the problems that are out there. I think Mike has, the draft one that Mike has establishes that pretty well. I think we highlight that, we put it in what the problems are, and note that it's a project we want to look at in the future. But put it on a long-range plan, that I think it enables other folks that may have more money to give to us to do some more studies, to look at the problems, potential solutions, and costs. And then from there, hopefully, we'll get into the tip and federal and state funding for this project.
So would this be completely independent of a connector between the Turnpike and 81?
Yes.
And nothing to do with each other?
And Kirk, I think you answered the question I had. We don't have to have a definitive solution at the moment. Yeah.
There's authorizes a study.
Yeah, right, just like, all right, we've identified this as a problem.
When you look at this too, I think, Mike, we were through this the first time, we kind of had staff submitting this. I think some of the responses were, well, whoever's the local sponsor, it has to be municipal government or county government, they have to be willing to take on the local share. I'm not sure that's the case. I think that you get on a long-range plan, if a project comes out of it, that's when you determine what the costs are, who the local share is. So I don't think, the county agreeing to support this forum commits us to anything. I've seen a lot of these project forums go forward from municipalities that really don't have a lot of money at all, and that's never been an issue. So I think it's a matter of, if we were to support this and send it forward, it enables us to access some other funding and take a closer look at the issues that are out there and then projects that could address them.
Kirk, it's already been approved, has it not, to add an additional lane on 81 both directions from 581 down to the Mechanicsburg?
Yes.
Okay.
From where?
581
To
to
114.
114.
Oh.
Mechanicsburg.
There was a study shortly after this was completed, that looked at widening 81 the whole way to, through Dauphin County. So that's out there. I think some of those things will move ahead. They have to. Move ahead. 81 has to be 3 lanes at some point. Be a matter of time. And I think the cost on that study at the time was like $6.4 billion to do everything. So big price tag, but a lot at stake too is we look at 81.
Okay, so recommendation here is requesting the commissioners to sponsor an interchange project. Okay, what does that all entail?
I don't want to speak for Mike, but Mike, I think looking at support, the county gives you support to fill out and submit the problem form on behalf of that.
I can't submit the problem form. It has to be a governmental organization.
So there's a form we have to fill out.
That'd be the request. That kicks everything else off.
Right.
And where does that form come from?
We have it here, and then we submit it to.
It's already filled out.
Yeah. I have the draft, we just changed some of the information, I can switch it down.
Do you need a letter of support like the township has done?
I don't think for this, because we would be the sponsor, so it's
Right.
Would there be we would have to take action?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. We could put it on for Thursday, tomorrow, if you're ready to do it.
It's going to really come down to whether Has Jim seen any of this? Because he's going to need time to
No.
digest this.
No, so
Like,
probably
he
makes
doesn't-
sense.
we're all- yeah.
We could,
And Keith can look at it.
yeah, we could, yeah, no, in fairness to Jim, I think he would support it, but I don't want to.
Kirk, just so I fully understand it, so this gets us toward putting it on the tip, but the prioritization is much further down the road.
Yes.
So, okay. So we don't have to worry about what this is necessarily competing with currently. It's later. Okay.
We have the long-range plan, you can show everyone the projects that are currently, and this is just requesting that this problem, potential projects will come out and be placed on the long-range plan.
Sounds good.
This could go on the August 25th workshop,
Correct.
and then we would vote on the following. I don't have any other questions.
Buck just brought up a good point, something that we didn't really hit on. You know, I know we were in not too long ago, looking for the commissioner's support on the joint land use study, as it relates to the local defense group. And, you know, we have collectively as a group identified this project as one key project for us as it relates to base retention. For several reasons, you know, one reason being we were in DC a few months ago. The Deputy Secretary for the Army mentioned this as, you know, we asked what can we do for you? You know, one of the things that came out of that was, you know, without officially suggesting, but I kind of see Mike looking at me from the side here, but is to take a look at some of the transportation issues as it relates in and around the barracks and also the Army Heritage Education Center as well. So we also see this as a top priority not only for the transportation reasons that we mentioned, but then also from the military base and enhancement perspective as well. And so as we talk about other sources of funds that can come into play for studies, et cetera, you know, we would, as a group, look at this as a key project that we would want to help support financially if we have the wherewithal to do so.
And there is an old DOD program that when a military installation changes its transportation requirements, there can be some support on the Defense Department budget. That's why having Schuster who sits both on transportation and armed services would be helpful. You know, to work with their leadership to get some insert within the DOD bill to defray some of these costs.
So I assume, it's implicit that this qualifies as an installation.
Well, when you look at what the post has done over the past 15 years on changing its transportation requirements, moving everything off of 11 really to the Claremont Road, opening the AHAC, putting a housing area, they've made some significant modifications to the traditional access requirements on the Carlisle barracks. Now, I'm not speaking for the barracks. I'm saying as a user of barracks facilities, they've significantly altered how we do business, how they do business.
What that triggered for me was that, you know, we've had some discussion here over the years about increasing traffic and such on Claremont Road, where of course we have facilities, and of course the barracks as well. And the township has mentioned they eventually want to put a light, traffic signalization there. And the question is always, what other improvements are needed, what should happen at the same time, and of course, who should pay for them. So I'm just curious if this plays into that.
It might play into that. And then, what the post is going to do now with the increased requirement that everybody go through a background check before they come on the post, it's going to even add additional burdens onto that back area.
Okay. Thank you.
Tom, you had a question?
So I was just going to add on to it will rack, I guess it would help. You have a broader perspective than I do, but I'm just thinking of Carlisle Barracks itself. It's very vulnerable. It's the only one of the services that has senior work college by itself. Navy's up there at Newport, the intermediate, the seniors. Air Force is down in Maxwell, in Alabama, intermediate, seniors. We sit here with senior work college, very, very vulnerable. And the organization's changed too. When I retired in '92, it was under the Chief of Staff of the Army. All the other schools came under what they call Training and Doctrine Command, 4-star command, big command, but the War College was directly under the chief of staff. In like 90, they were doing 1990, Brad, they were doing work at the subject table, of course, moving into Leavenworth. They did conceptual work, or where it fit in at Leavenworth or what have you. So things like this maybe could really demonstrate community support for it, because I believe it would be moved and what have you. It's now seen just as another school. When I went and when I retired, it was under chief of staff, and we at the low level, colonel level, thought it's a sacred cow. You don't mess with that. The sacred cow is gone. It's thrown in the trademark system in any other school. So it's going to be a hard sell again to say that they, as you know, became close. You were a business. Became close the last time, very close. I see it's very vulnerable, and I think I follow John's logic on this. It would help in terms of support the case, how much the community cares about it.
Anything else? All right, is there any other business to be brought in front of the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.